Prepare to journey back in time and witness one of the most devastating confrontations in ancient Greek history, the Peloponnesian War. This is the story of how two powerful city-states, Athens and Sparta, once bound by alliance, plunged into a chasm of bitter enmity. This conflict not only redrew the political map of Hellas, but also taught harsh lessons about the nature of power, the intricate web of political intrigue, and boundless human ambition. It is a saga of unyielding resilience, treacherous betrayal, and the horrifying consequences that any prolonged war inevitably brings. The Peloponnesian War marked a turning point in human history, vividly demonstrating how power, a double-edged sword, can be both the greatest gift and a deadly curse. Prepare to discover how events unfolded and what this tragedy ultimately led to. The Peloponnesian War was more than just a military confrontation. It was a clash of fundamental ideologies, democracy, personified by Athens, against oligarchy, represented by Sparta. It was a struggle between a maritime power with its trade routes and a land-based state founded on military might. The conflict erupted not only for dominance over Greece, but also for the very definition of Greek civilization. The origins of this monumental conflict are rooted in the period following the victorious Persian Wars. Athens, once a bulwark of Greek freedom, significantly strengthened its position through the Delian League, formed to defend against a potential Persian threat. However, over time, Athens transformed this alliance into an empire, consolidating its power over smaller city-states and exploiting their resources for its own benefit. Attempts by some cities to break free from Athenian hegemony were brutally suppressed. Sparta, in turn, led the Peloponnesian League, uniting oligarchic states that feared Athenian power. Unlike Athens, which prospered through trade and democratic principles, Sparta was a stern, militaristic state, where the land army was the basis of its strength. As Athens expanded its influence through diplomacy and military force, tensions with Sparta and its allies steadily mounted. Many Greek states found themselves drawn into the confrontation between these two superpowers, forced to choose a side in a conflict that would determine the region's fate for decades to come. The contrast between Athens and Sparta was striking. Athens, renowned for its art, philosophy, and powerful navy, believed in its cultural and political superiority. Sparta, with its strict discipline and militaristic way of life, valued stability and saw Athens as a dangerous force threatening the traditional Greek order. Amidst increasingly frequent minor skirmishes and disputes, full-scale war seemed inevitable. Every city-state sensed the approaching conflict, understanding it was only a matter of time. Several key events pushed Athens and Sparta over the precipice. The Corcyra incident in 433 BCE, when Athens intervened in a conflict between Corinth and Corcyra, supporting the latter against Corinth, a key Spartan ally, alarmed the Peloponnesian League. This was followed by the Potidaea revolt in 432 BCE, when Athens ordered Potidaea, a Corinthian colony, to sever ties with Corinth and submit to Athenian authority. Potidaea resisted with Spartan support, leading to a prolonged Athenian siege. Finally, the Megarian decree, in which Athens imposed economic sanctions against Megara, a Spartan ally, crippling its trade, further exacerbated hostilities. Sparta, feeling threatened, issued an ultimatum. Athens must free its dependent states or face war. When Athens refused, war erupted in 431 BCE. The Greek world descended into chaos, brother against brother, in a struggle that would consume generations. In the early years of the war, fierce sieges unfolded, alliances shifted, and the death toll steadily mounted. Athens relied on its impregnable walls and powerful navy, while Sparta ravaged agricultural lands, attempting to starve the enemy into submission. However, neither side relented, leading to an exhausting war of attrition. Sparta, with its superior land forces, invaded Attica, burning fields and villages to compel the Athenians to yield through starvation. Athens, led by the far-sighted statesman Pericles, pursued a different strategy: avoid direct land battles and rely on its navy to control maritime trade routes and raid the Spartan coast. This strategy initially brought success, but in 430 BCE, a terrible catastrophe struck Athens. A deadly plague swept through the city. Overcrowding within the city walls made it impossible to contain the disease. The plague claimed the lives of tens of thousands, including Pericles himself, dealing a severe blow to Athenian morale and leadership. As Athens weakened, its allies began to question their allegiance. Could the great Athenian Empire survive this relentless test of time? Despite the setbacks, Athens achieved several important victories. One of the war's most unexpected moments was the capture of hundreds of elite Spartan warriors by Athenian forces at Pylos in 425 BCE, an unprecedented event in Spartan history. Humiliated, Sparta offered peace, but Athens, emboldened by success, refused, intending to press its advantage. In 421 BCE, after many years of fierce fighting, both exhausted sides concluded the Peace of Nicias, intended to last 50 years. However, the truce proved fragile, holding for only 6 years. The ambitions of both states remained unsatisfied, merely lying dormant beneath the surface, awaiting a new spark. Athens, still aiming to expand its influence, made the fateful decision to invade Sicily in 415 BCE. The goal was to weaken Sparta by capturing Syracuse, a powerful Spartan ally. However, the campaign was marred by poor planning, leadership disagreements, and unexpectedly tenacious resistance. One of the key figures in this disaster was Alcibiades, a charismatic and controversial Athenian leader. Accused of religious crimes, he defected to Sparta and helped them devise a strategy to counter Athens. Meanwhile, the Athenian general Nicias, who had initially opposed the invasion, displayed indecisiveness at critical moments. The result was a complete catastrophe. By 413 BCE, the Athenian expedition was utterly annihilated. Thousands of Athenian soldiers were killed or captured and sent to the horrific conditions of Sicilian quarries. This crushing loss severely weakened Athens. The once proud city, dreaming of empire, found itself on the brink of collapse. Taking advantage of Athens' weakened state, Sparta changed its strategy. With financial support from Persia, they built a powerful fleet to challenge Athenian naval supremacy. Over time, Athens struggled to hold its empire together as revolt spread and resources dwindled. The burden of decades of war finally broke them. The decisive moment came in 405 BCE at the Battle of Aegospotami. The Spartan fleet under Lysander launched a surprise attack, destroying nearly the entire Athenian navy. Stripped of its naval power and with supply lines cut, Athens faced starvation. In 404 BCE, Athens capitulated. Sparta's terms were harsh, and the era of Athenian dominance came to an end. However, Sparta's rule proved short-lived, as Thebes and Macedon soon rose to challenge it. The Peloponnesian War serves as an enduring cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked ambition, the fluidity of alliances, and the cost of prolonged conflicts. This war so weakened the Greek world that within a century it fell under the sway of an even more powerful force, Macedon. It is a reminder that power is fleeting, and hubris can lead to the downfall of even the greatest civilizations. Even today, the Peloponnesian War resonates in modern geopolitics, recalling how rising powers challenge existing world orders, often leading to conflict